Well, again, this is not optimal and it's not the way I hoped that things would go. But as it turns out, my wife is being released in the morning, and that means, somebody has to be there to, you know, ferry her around. Uh, so I'm afraid I am simply not going to be able to make our classes for today. Um, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put together this little video. It's going to cover some of the critical things that you need to know. And I will be welcoming any questions for things you think I'm not covering or not addressing. The first thing is that I'm putting up the assignment for essay number 3. Essay number 3 will be to write your own review of a short film. That short film will be assigned, so everyone will do the exact same thing, and um, the sorry, I'm trying to think of the words. Um, the outline for the assignment for the basic criteria for it will be presented there in the assignment. So, look for it. I'll put up the assignment sheet like I always do, and then you can look at that and see what's going on. But essentially, what you'll be doing is you'll just be writing a review of this film. And as I say, everybody will be doing the same one. This is a very quick turnaround for this module. So we'll be looking to have this one completed at the end of next week. On 416. It is another short piece of writing. You only have to, this is another, 3-page essay. It should come together pretty well. Uh, Really, again, for our purposes, I just want to emphasize again how in a lot of ways, it's very similar to what we've been doing, that you are making a kind of an argument, but it is not the exact kind of arguing that we do in academic writing, nor is it the stated, understood argument of the informative perspective that I tried you to get you to write for this last essay. So this is something different. This is where you're really stressing the subjective point of view. But at the same time, you do have to sort of talk about some evidence for that. It's just that the evidence doesn't really have to be presented in a factual way. It's more evidence that this is how I see, this going on, and this is also part of, so that your opinion is part of the evidence, and that really sets it apart from the other things we've been doing. All right, so assignment for essay number 3 will go up. Look for that. Look for that assignment sheet. It is looking to be due at the end of this coming week. So there's no time like the present to start working on it. For today, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to put up we're going to call our weekly writing for this week, and that will be due. Um, we'll go ahead and reverse things like we had our homework due immediately the next day. We'll go ahead and have our weekly writing due at the end of the weekend. So we'll have that due on Sunday. What I'm asking you to do for the weekly writing is I'm going to put up several different things, and I'm going to ask you to create some lists of criteria for evaluation. All right. So look, what we're doing in this module is we're looking to uh, present our evaluations. Anytime you evaluate something, essentially what you're doing is you're saying it either meets or doesn't meet your expectations for it, and that means that you have criteria for it. So again, if we were in class, what I would tend to do is I would start with something simple, and I'd ask students to name a food that they don't like. All right, so why don't you like it is the question. And in the past, I've had people who don't like eggs. I've had people who don't like tomatoes. I've had people who don't like broccoli, things like that. And so the whole idea is, why don't you like it? What is the thing about it that you don't care for? All right. Uh, so when you think about why you don't like it, Essentially, what you're saying is it doesn't meet my criteria for what good food should be. That's it. And you can do the exact same thing with positive things, where you can say, "Why do I like this? How does it fit what I like? Uh, you know, why is chocolate so good?" The answer isn't just that it's good. The answer is because it appeals to what? Is it, for me, um, I gave up coffee and tea several years ago. So chocolate is legitimately pretty much the only place I get caffeine from, and it gives me quite a thrill. So I'm pretty sure that's why I enjoy chocolate. Um, so what I'm asking you to do for this is I'm going to ask you to look at several sources. And what I'm going to ask you to do is decide what are the criteria that you would look for to judge it. All right. Now, this is a little more complex than it sounds. All right. I'm going to give you some visual media, things where you just look at them. All right. And you need to put yourself in the place of being an art critic. Uh, when you look at a piece of plastic art, what makes it, either good or bad? What are the things that you can talk about? And so, I want to see, fairly well formulated lists. When you listen to something, uh, and you're trying to judge it and evaluate it and say whether it's good or not, I want you to, again, what are you listening for? What are the things that you could possibly judge? Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. So that's it. When you come out to create an actual formal review, everything that you say about whether it's good or whether it's bad, and those are your options, whether it's good or whether it's bad, all comes down to how does it fulfill or not fulfill certain criteria for what you like. All right. So, uh, way back at the beginning of class, I had you guys write a sonnet, and we talked about poetry and how uh, some poems rhyme and some poems don't. There are people that think of poetry, of things not being poetry because they don't rhyme. All right. So that in that case, rhyme is a criteria for poetry for that person. All right. Um, so I want you to do your best to break down lists of criteria, and I'm going to ask for a little bit of reflection on how that works, meaning why you would choose such things, how it would affect you if you decided to focus on other things. So I'm going to ask for you to, again, think about this and present those thoughts, present a little bit of insight into what's going on. And that'll be our assignment for the work for the day. But like I said, we're not having that due until the end of this coming weekend. Now, I'm putting up a document, and I want you to take a look at it. It's on the breakdown of structure for a review. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can put it up right here. All right, so this document is actually a review, and like I said, this will be available for you on Schoology on our work for this week. And what it is it's a review of the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which is an old movie. I don't highly recommend it. Um, and the review is by Roger Ebert, who is a very famous movie reviewer. Now you're being asked to create a movie review, so you can actually think about this as a model for what you're going to be doing. And what I've done is you can see I have the review divided out, and you can see up at the top I have a note saying that the review is divided into 4 movements. And this is the way all reviews really break down. All right. So the other day I had you do an assignment where I asked you to think about structure in a review. Well, I'm telling you right now, this is the structure of a review, and it's what I'll be looking for from you. All right. So movement number one in the review essentially consists of the introduction. The introduction really just sets up a quick overview of what you're reviewing and how you're reviewing it. And by which I mean, what are the results of the review? You don't save that for the end. You get it out immediately. Reviews are functional pieces of writing. People read reviews in order to find out what it is and whether or not it's worth their time. So that information needs to be provided to your reader immediately, or they will lose patience and go find someone who will give them that information immediately. All right. Now, the trick is, like all the other things that I've said going along with this, is that it's up to you to make your presentation of this little brief, what is it and how is it, to make it so that it's interesting enough that they'll want to read more. All right. Because again, you're not writing just to fill space, you're writing to be read. So this first paragraph just does that. It says, this is what it is. This is how I feel about it. So you see Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, it's named in there. And he says, not only the best of the three Mad Max movies, one of the best films of the year. All right. So unequivocal. This is a good movie, according to Roger Ebert. All right. So very, very clear. Uh, the next movement is a little longer, and you see that goes on for a couple of paragraphs here. And essentially, what it does is explain the what of the movie in a little greater detail. And I say that down below. I say the second movement explores the what in depth. Essentially, it's all the things that you would normally think need to be talked about when you're describing a movie. You're going to say, who's in it? You're going to say, what characters are they playing? What is the story behind everything? Where is it set? All the things that make it a movie so that people can get an idea about what exactly it is. All right. So you've, in the introduction, you've said what it is and how it is immediately. And again, that little what it is and how it is, it's a little bit more than just saying the name of the movie. He gives a little contextualization about it, that this is a sequel and that we should think of sequels in certain ways. All right. And that it defies that expectation about sequels. All right. So he gives a little context about it and then sets it up. And it says what it is and how it is. All right. So this is all just essentially plot. You can see in this paragraph, we've got an overview that it's a post-apocalyptic world, and people are living in the hellscape beyond. And then we have this. Then we move in. So we have a broad overview of the plot, and then we zoom in towards the main character, and we see him heading towards Bartertown. And what happens there, and then in Bartertown we zoom in a little bit more with him, so we follow along with the main character into the setting, and we get specific about where it is. All right, so that's all the what. All right, so we get a really good feel for what goes on in this movie. The third movement seems to just sort of continue that on, continue on with that. But it's a little bit different because the purpose shifts a little bit here. Um, Back at the beginning, in this opening introduction, he says sequels are supposed to be creative voids. All right. So what he says is this defies it. And so he's going to tell you that this is a very creative movie. That is the central way that he's going to say this is good. All right. His criteria for what makes a good movie in this case is that it is original, that it is creative, that it is surprising because of that. All right. And that makes it a joy. So when we get down to here, to movement number 3, as he presents details about the review, or about the movie, what he does is he presents details that support that creativity. So you see here at the end of this first paragraph under 3, he actually draws comparisons between Casablanca uh, uh, and Orson Welles in The Third Man. All right. So two very famous, very well-regarded movies. And so he's actually setting up a kind of comparison between them and how original it is. All right. That this is how imaginative they are. All right. That's pretty high. That's pretty good to say that they're that way. And then he moves into uh, a really specific example of how the battle scene staged in the Thunderdome is completely original. And he actually tells you, he explains how, what that looks like to you. So he's providing details that can look like he's just talking about plot, but he's using them as illustrations for why it is original. And that is really a different thing than just telling you about plot. So here at the conclusion of the third movement is one of the great creative action scenes in the movies. All right, so bar none. So he's saying this is why it's great. All right, and then we've got this just last little bit left. And so just like the intro very briefly said what and how it is, all you're left to do at the end is to close off with a conclusion that seals the deal and reiterates what it is and how it is. So look, sentence number one under four. There's a lot more in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. He renames what he's reviewing. Then, last sentence. This is a movie that strains at the leash of the possible, a movie of great visionary wonders. Again, leaves no doubt that this is a positive review, what it is and how it is. He doesn't exactly restate where he starts, but that is the essence of what he's doing. All right. So this is the breakdown of a review, and this is what I'll be looking for you to strive to do as well. All right. Now I'm going to see if I can get out of screen sharing because I've always, yeah, there we go. Look at that. I've occasionally had problems doing that. So that's it. I've got your assignments for this week. I'll be starting to grade your now that the great medical disaster is has come to a close. I'll be grading your papers that you turned in on Tuesday. I'll get you feedback on those. I'll get you some feedback on your homework for that was due. Uh, is that today? What is the? See, I've totally lost what today is. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. It was due at the end of the next day. Yeah. All right. Um, so, uh, oh, well, that would be today is when I'm talking about this. So I'm setting this up tonight. So never mind. Anyway, in case you can't tell by my mood, things have come out rather okay with my wife. So I'm just on the giddy side, and I do apologize for not being able to set things up and share with you some class time tomorrow. But we will be back on next Tuesday, and we will spend a good period making sure that everybody is clear on this project. All right. So don't fret if you feel like you're being left out in the cold on this. I I'm not happy about it, entirely myself. Um, so remember, we have the weekly writing due at the end of the week on Sunday. You can look at the assignment for essay number 3, and again, um, take a look at that. Take a look at that breakdown for the structure of a review. All right, because that'll be your model that you should use. All right, if anybody needs anything, if anybody wants anything, please let me know. Again, remember, you can text me if you need me, and you can always write me. Until Tuesday, I guess. Um, have have fun.